main idea of there is somebody maybe in that may have one. Different, not very consistent with its pattern. Different years, different number of questions. Any problem with the paragraphs? Yeah, paragraphs. Paragraph, what did you do? We haven't done in class. Paragraph was made take good questions. The ones you get, yeah, yes, Krish. Are you doing? Fine. Just fine. Say I'm good. Say I'm good. Yeah. Okay. You were not there when Manisha was discussing. I think it was a discussion. Okay. Waiting for still. And I guess both they are positive wait for that. Jammu, Japan. Then there is one in Hyderabad, private. That's not. Then waiting for Shillong. Outside is also through IPM. They have their own exam also, but IPM scores are also called. And waiting for Shillong. Any other? No, none of you have applied for NIMA again. उसमें भी argument का score ही जाएगा. My personal opinion. Ahmedabad. NIMA University. It's simple. It is monthly very easy. So NIMA को नहीं किया है तभी there's still time for registering. So you have to register into the particular universities. So even if you are doing IPM, you have to register to the particular institution. If you don't register, automatically you score. So there are a few dates which have Ranchi. If you haven't applied, can still apply. 12th is 12 3 p.m. So you can stay with that. Yeah, SCT symbiosis also 12th April is last week. So that's still pretty hard. The exam is May 5th to 11th, May 5th and 11th. NIMA you can register till 31st May. Ramsar also you can register till 31st. Ranchi will be lower. Rohtak अभी भी registration का date है 11th April. Where have you not applied? Any institutes where the IPM scores are going? So register to all of them where IPM अभी last date से पहले. So as I said, NIMA you should attend. Syllabus is you are not. From the MCD, उसमें कुछ syllabus में computer science and all that करना. तो syllabus ऐसा नहीं है, but you have to be prepared. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि question आया और नहीं होगा. And I think they have little bit of subject related questions. They said, going to get over G, काफी अभी also I was just taking these off where you haven't applied. Actually, you have, no? Yeah. You look at you have Hyderabad. IPM स्कूल जाएगा तो if IPM स्कूल से apply कर सकते हैं then why not? I have a 5-year IPM program. See, you apply. अभी वो गारंटी थोड़ी ना है कि मिल ही जाएगा. जहाँ मिल जाए वहाँ जाएंगे. What's the problem? And you have the option of after 3 years you can do your CAT. Anyway, you should do your CAT. Why I'm saying you should anyway do your CAT even if you are going into a 5-year program. Because many other companies want your CAT scores. So CAT, no matter what.
I people skip CAT and then get in the same college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They in the same college. See, IPMAT में एक you'll be having an advantage because you are already prepared in the institute and you are prepared for the course. You already done your internship, 6-month internship कर चुके हो. बाकी लोगों को तो 2 month का मिलता है. So many of the companies nowadays have realized कि IPMAT वाले बच्चे ज़्यादा अच्छे हो. They have more experience and they are better, like focused for that stream. Yeah, because that day I was listening to Nirma's director. There was an interview of him. So he was saying this last recruitment season, JP Morgan are coming and like nobody had told them that these students are from the IPM, these students are from the normal university. But somehow in the interview, he chose students who were from IPM. All of them. 100% recruitment was from the IPM. So, these are the 2 dates which are almost there. Last date.
प्राची अगर नहीं किया है तो कर लो और if you want to do recipe then you can do main campus anyway main campus yes okay so worksheet 15 का हो गया है कि भूल गए test किए worksheet 15 was 2 days ago
Test for others.
errors and haven't tested अच्छा class test we will discuss how many have you done 7 तक हो गया तो today is what today is Thursday no
Yes.
Saturday we'll discuss class test finish till 10 10 तक खत्म कर लेना if you can do more than 10 then good enough total 15 है 10 तक तो अभी खत्म कर लो then next week you can do 5 more है ना you can do them again see do them again means that
Go through
you can solve them again test your speed right
in this class test, like time to value that. That's not that it. But
अभी बाकी में नहीं होगा see when you have only grammar questions then you know that okay in 20 minutes I can finish so when you have the comprehension ones it's a little longer and when you have the parajumble ones those take a little time okay did you go through the parajumble rules okay ये worksheet 15 किसने complete किया है you have done you've done Durga hasn't done ये वाला क्या ट्राई करना नहीं हुआ क्यों complicated yeah it will see these won't be very easy
I'm the one asked an exam for easier than this.
so when you see when you do difficult ones now everything else will become easy but if you practice cat level questions then ultimate level questions are that's the purpose when you are practicing do the difficult ones if you do the easy ones now and leave the difficult ones then you get stuck when you get a little difficult right so you will be able to think complicated agar solve kar liya right so let's see
Last day then.
Huh? And the others also by 15th May खत्म कर लेना 15th April 15th to 30th April तक बाकी जहाँ जहाँ अप्लाई करना है Okay. So come up with your answers for this. Hello. इसको कौन सा कर रहे हो? Morning, Shyam. You're online today also.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The para completion one which I have shared. Will you complete?
Yes, ma'am.
So, yes, everybody, you can come up with your answers. This one, what's your answer to this? Hello, girls. Girls. See, I will separate you like this. This is not sitting. Okay, question 12, first question. What's your answer? You got
I
this?
did not understand.
Did you get this? How you got this?
I tried reading the whole passage 5 times. Yet I did not get it.
Okay. So answer this one. Right. Okay, so it says. It says philosophers long ago observed the remarkable fact that mere familiarity with things is able to produce a feeling of their rationality. So if you are familiar with things, they seem to be rational or logical, right? The empiricist school has been so much stuck with this circumstance as to have laid it down that the feeling of rationality and feeling of familiarity are one and the same thing, and that no other kind of rationality than this is. Yes, good morning. ट्रेन में मिला था It's your train. Hello. So we are discussing worksheet 15. You can quickly settle down and focus. Have you people done it?
Yes.
Eva?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get the first question?
I got many wrong answers.
Is there anyone who got the question, the answer to this? At least you will tell us what is the right answer if we know. Okay, so what is it talking about? It's talking about the empiricist school and its idea, right? That rationality and familiarity are the same thing. Okay, the daily contemplation of phenomena juxtaposed in a certain order begets an archaic language. So if you come across archaic language, don't get stuck on the language. Just figure out the main idea and move. Right? Language here is not important. Okay. Begets an acceptance of the connection as absolute as the response engendered by theoretical insight into the coherence. To explain a thing is to pass easily back to its antecedents. Antecedents, so you know. Yeah. Juxtaposed also, you know. What's a juxtaposition? Some idea which is in contrast. Yeah, you say two things in the same idea. So that will be just. Okay, to explain a thing is to pass easily back to its antecedents. To know it is easy to foresee its consequence. So now we are looking for a concluding statement, something that should be related, right? So we can eliminate what is not related. So what can be eliminated? The utility of this emotional effect of expectation is perfectly obvious. Rational selection, in fact, was bound to bring it about sooner or later. Now, this is talking about the process of natural selection and utility of this emotion. So, yeah, this whole thing is talking about an emotion, but we'll see if this fits or not, if we can eliminate everything else. Custom which lets us do both is thus the source of whatever irrationality the thing may gain in our thought. So this is talking about both. So here also we were talking about two things that are going on, right? So do we need to go into exact details? No, we get an idea. So B could probably be the answer. A dog's curiosity about the movements is this related in any way? Not at all.
I thought that's the example.
No, we are looking at a picture. The wrath of science against miracles, certain philosophies. So C and D are not quite related to. C and D are not related at all. We can eliminate. Now between A and B, which is a better choice, clearer and more related, looks like B. What's the answer? A. B is the answer. So B is more related to the particular paragraph. So now this is a paragraph which maybe is a little difficult to understand. Do we need to understand every single word? We need to get an idea what it is talking about. And then get to the sentence which is talking about the same thing. That's all.
That was a previous year question.
No, this is not a previous sentence.
No, it's easy. I think it's
You never know that.
so it's the ones which we did yesterday, which came in the previous year.
That's what I said. I just told them that when we deal with difficult questions, then your exam seems to be easier. Okay? So you are able to tackle the more complex ones. So you will tackle the easier ones. Right? So this is on purpose that I have given some difficult questions. Say only previous year's questions for you, and then something difficult comes in. Yeah, right? Okay, 13. Everyone got this? No? No? You did? Did it right? Fine. Got this one? You did? You haven't done it. Durga? Okay, no, Durga ne kiya hai. Prishti. अरे आयुषी और अनीशा तो हमेशा कंफ्यूज होता है. Okay. So this one, what is okay? Please, can you explain this? Try to explain. You become the teacher. Yes, you can. If you can solve it, you can explain. Maratha, you didn't even try to understand what it is talking about. Huh? किसी का आंसर correct नहीं आया? Okay, let's see. Non-residents allowed to purchase shares or convertible debentures of an Indian company up to the extent and subject to the terms and conditions set out under the FDI scheme. इतना समझ में आ गया? That NRIs are allowed to purchase shares and debentures, and it is subject to terms and conditions set out by, and those terms and conditions are laid by the FDI scheme. Okay, a person purchasing shares proposes to be a collaborator or proposes to acquire the entire shareholding of a new Indian company is required to obtain prior permission of the government. So anyone who wants to invest needs prior permission of the government. Who wants to be a collaborator or who wants to acquire the entire shareholding of a new Indian company requires permission of the government. Right? So now what will come next? Government, and if you see, it is a continuation of the same thing. Yeah. So probably the reason why, or some more details, that's what we need, but it should be related to investment and government policy. So if you look at A, if he has a previous venture or tie-up in India through investment in shares or debentures, could be, right? Because we are talking about he has already got, in the previous sentence it was about debentures and shares. So if he has those, B says when he wants to invest as per the policy guidelines with the intention to keep the money and transfer the same on conditional basis. Now, we are already saying that they need prior permission. And when he wants to invest as per policy guidelines and wants to keep the money and transfer on conditional basis, is that really talking about what and earlier it was, yeah, so here what is the main thing? Wants to transfer money. So does it require permission to transfer money? Good. Okay. But is this very clear? This sentence? It doesn't give you clarity on what the government policies are or what he needs to do. Okay. So now we can say that he requires prior permission if he has to do something, right? So next is if he likes to establish the company for the benefit of this country without selling the shares in the international market and move forward. That's also quite complex. Yeah, doesn't bring in clarity. Okay, D, unless he is a non-resident Indian, he may not be permitted to go for a direct investment in India. But we are already saying that he can purchase shares and be a collaborator of a new company, and he is required to obtain prior permission of the government. Unless he is a we are saying he is a we are already saying he is a non-resident. Unless he is a non-resident. Does that make sense? No. So we can eliminate D. C doesn't really seem to be an answer. Now between A and B. B can purchase if he wants to invest as per policy guidelines and wants to keep the money and transfer. So then he would require permission. Okay. And A says if he has a previous venture tie-up in India through investment in shares and debentures. So if he already has a previous tie-up, would he require government permission again? But if he wants to transfer money, obviously he will. So, likely answer could be B. Chris, what was your answer? What is the correct answer? A is the correct answer. So, okay, now in B, 1 minute. In B, when he wants to invest as per the policy guidelines with the intention to keep the money and transfer the same on conditional basis. Now, if you see permission conditional basis sort of repeated, right? If he would say he needs permission if he wants to invest as per the policy guidelines with the intention to keep the money and transfer it, then it is okay. On conditional basis is the same thing as permission, right? So that is also not very clear. It doesn't bring in clarity of how to complete the sentence. We are looking at not only completing the paragraph but also continuing the sentence. Okay. So as I said earlier, A could be now if he has a previous venture or tie-up in India through investment in shares or debentures. Okay, so he has a tie-up and here he is going to own the entire company or collaborate. So he will require government permission. That is clear and concise. Others are not clear. B doesn't fit in. C also doesn't really fit in. B could fit in, but it is sort of complicating the matter.
But just like you,
So what I was thinking that A could be the answer, but then B was talking more about following the policy guidelines. Huh? No, B, yeah, see, A and B both can be an answer. Now if we analyze further, B, we are talking about investing, a person purchasing shares proposes to be the collaborator or proposes to acquire entire shareholding, right? So we are already talking about he is collaborating or taking up the entire shareholding of a company. And here, we are saying he wants to invest as per policy guidelines. So isn't it repeated? Right? We are saying the same thing. So purchasing shares means investing. Collaborating means investing. Again, we are saying investing. So though the idea fits in, but it is repetitive. Right? So in that case, we will go with A.
yes, I'm sitting and giving the test. It is difficult to pick up.
Yeah, it is difficult. It is difficult. That's why it is about critical thinking. Right?
I'm usually inclined to the wrong points.
That happens with everyone. If I were to sit for the exam, I fail. Because we can see the questions are such as to confuse. And what they want to test? Your ability to analyze. So they want to see who can think critically and analyze better. And that person is more fit to do an MBA, no? They are selecting people who will be able to get through the process. So if you are easygoing and don't want to think, will you be able to survive an MBA? And be successful? That's it, no? These exams are not like the SAT you do. You give an SAT, you get a score, कोई भी college में घुस जाओ. Depends upon how much score they have. Yeah, it's not that easy. But here we are talking about a process of elimination. Right? So all the Indian exams that you see, except for CA and all the competitive exams for admission are a process of elimination. So it is like selection of the fittest. So you have to be the fittest. Right? So in this case, your answer will be A. Let's see if you can get the next one. Did you get this one? Yes. Number 14, did you get the answer?
Yes.
This was easy. Got the answer. Okay. 15. आ गया था? हाँ?
Yes.
15 was easy.
Yes.
Durga, you do this today. Sorry. It's a gameplay to that. That's why it's so much easier to do it. Okay, 16.
Oh my God. Yes.
So wrong. Huh? Isko, who got it right? You did?
Explain.
Yes, you can explain.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you don't remember, neither do I.
I needed much better.
Yeah, you can read it. So everyone read it, and whoever got it wrong, think again. Don't sit there that somebody will tell you the answer.
I read it again, but I have my own perspective.
Okay, now read it again with a different perspective.
I read it twice after I checked the answer. I can take it
And you can do Okay, let's see. Systems thinking is a unique approach to the problem solving, and that it views certain problems as a part of the overall system. So focusing on these outcomes will only further develop the undesired element of the problem. So if you break this sentence down, what does it mean?
And talked about systems thinking. So,
Yes, the systems thinking is taking the entire scenario into account. Yeah, so they're looking at the entire problem. When it is looking at a problem, it's looking at the entire system. It's not looking at specific problems separately. Yeah, so it is not able to solve the problem. That's what, or it brings up more problems. Okay, systems thinking is a framework that is based on the belief that the component parts of a system will act differently when the system's relationship are removed and it is viewed in isolation. So when you break the system into parts, each component will work differently or act differently. So because of this, what may happen? What is the result of this? That's probably what we are looking at. So we have a systems thinking is unique because it looks at the overall, and if we break it down, then each component acts differently. So if it is viewed in isolation, okay. Systems thinking assumes that small changes can trigger large changes in complex systems. Is that what the systems thinking is? Now, systems thinking concerns an understanding of a system by examining the linkages and interactions between the elements. Is this related? Yes. So there are two parts to our paragraph. Number one is looking at it overall, and number two is thinking that each component acts differently. And it's also talking about when the system's relationship are removed and it is viewed in isolation. So each one of them are viewed in isolation, and then there should be a connection between them. So B could be an answer. Because see, system thinking believes that improvement in one area of a system can adversely affect another area of the system. Is that in this book? It's completely out. Right? Yeah. Systems thinking tries to solve a problem by trying to understand the part in relation to the whole. Is it trying to understand the part in relation to the whole? This is in contrast to what the first sentence is talking. Right? First sentence is talking about it looking at it as a whole. Yeah, but then it also says that it looks at the different parts acting differently. But when it is solving a problem, does it understand the part in relation to the whole? We don't get the idea, right? Because it's already creating a problem by not thinking like that. Okay, system thinking techniques may be used to study any kind of system. That's too different. Yeah, we can take that as a conclusion on the basis of what has been said. So that can be eliminated E, be eliminated D. C. Adversely affect the other areas of C correctly. Now B could be an answer. And what about A? Small changes can trigger large changes in complex systems. Would that be an answer? Right? What's the answer?
D.
D. Out of everything, D. System thinking tries to solve the I think D could be an answer.
I thought B should be the answer because I also worry.
Concerns and understanding of the system by examining linkages and interactions between the elements. And overall, we are trying to figure out how it could solve a problem, right?
And D is
D is talking about solving the problem and systems thinking. Okay, it's now if we look at B, okay, C isn't really what the system thinking is doing, but if you look at this, if we join the dots, this is a complex. Systems thinking is a framework that is based on the belief that the component parts of a system will act differently. So it needs to understand the different parts. But yeah, if it is looking at the whole, then so there are two columns. Systems thinking is this way, and the framework is based on this. So the system is actually based on the belief that the components act differently. So it should, to solve a problem, it actually should be looking at the relationship between the different parts or solving the different parts. Okay. Now, if you look at B, it is not talking about solving the problem. Because if you look at the entire paragraph, the first line itself talks about problem solving. So we need to come down to how the problem can be solved. So in that case, C won't really be an answer. C to anyway be eliminated because it's talking about adversely affecting. B is a little general, is not coming to problem solving. B is coming to problem solving. This is the problem. Yeah, this is the problem. So these are actually the easier characteristics. So the characteristics with low level of difficulty. So those are these steps. So they'll be a little complex, but you have to be able to think what it is actually talking. Right? So yeah, this one. Another complex one. Anyone got this? Anyone did this one? Sure.
Yes, ma'am. So mine is not. And you explanation where reading was reading like that.
You understood? Anybody went through the explanation? No? You got it wrong and left it there.
I'm trying to read it again. But I still don't it.
Shyam, did you do these questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get this right?
Some, I mean, four were wrong.
What about number 17? Can you explain this?
It was wrong.
So wrong. Okay. So let's see what it is talking about and if we can solve it or not. It talks about macroeconomics examines the economy as a whole top down to explain broad aggregates and their interactions. Right? Such aggregates include national income and output, employment rate, price inflation, sub-aggregates like total consumption, investment spending, and the components. It also studies effects of the monetary policy and fiscal policy. Yeah, so till now we were talking about what macroeconomics is all about. Now, since at least the 1960s, macroeconomics has been characterized by further integration as to micro-based models of sectors, including rationality of players, efficient use of market information, and imperfect competition. So these are also parts of analyzing macroeconomics effects of policies. Yeah. Okay. So now, first part was the broader ones. Second part is talking about the macro. So the micro factors that determine affect it. Or because now it says since at least 1960s, these have been characterized by further integration. So this has resulted in a better understanding of economic cyclical growth. Could be that can lead to a better understanding. This has addressed a long-standing concern on the same project. What project are they talking about? They're talking about a specific project. It's talking about the economy as a whole, right? So that doesn't, according to me, many economists, are they economies or economists, feel that this further integration approach has enabled them to be able to make accurate growth projections. So further integration has helped how this could get out, right? B, this has enabled finance managers to be able to measure risk measurement data. Is it linked? Not linked. But economists, again, this should be economists, feel the addition of micro-based modeling of sectors only makes macroeconomics more confusing and complex. So we have between making it more confusing and complex and better understanding. So which one would be a better choice? It would be better understanding. That's the answer?
That's my answer. Yeah.
So what
B
is
was the correct
B or C, but the answer is B.
answer is B. This is addressed
Yes, I got it.
a long-standing concern on the same project. No, I don't think B should be an answer. What explanation have you?
Is it when started the economist is new topic and calculation cannot start. Calculation cannot be made with the
Further integration approach is not a new topic. Long-standing concern on the project. Okay, long-standing concern about studying the economy, but where does the project come in? This has addressed a long-standing concern, we can say. But where is the project coming?
Project is given.
Macro examine, macro exam, economic exam, also studies that has been characterized by further integration. I don't think the I'll check the answer, but these questions I think I have picked up straight from one of the books.
Check all the answers.
I don't think B can definitely not be an answer. So if you have marked C, it is correct. It should be correct.
She got it.
This is question number
17.
Okay, so this one, if you have marked C, it should be correct. It's more related to what the rest of the passage is talking. Okay, 18 में भी ऐसा ही कुछ problem था?
Yes, 18 he was not in the
हाँ?
18.
18 में भी ऐसा ही कुछ?
हाँ.
Okay, it says, anyone got this answer correct? You did?
It's not
Why individual companies adapt? Now I read it once.
Yeah, read it aloud. So that anyone can understand.
While individual companies adapt to the new political economy in the West, it does not diminish New Delhi's responsibility to make a case for more open immigration policies for India's skilled workers. It talks about India being open to immigrants, skilled labor.
Skilled workers. So when they say New Delhi's responsibility means the government's responsibility.
Right. This, as economists from David Ricardo to Jagdish Bhagwati have pointed out, increases the size of global economic output despite the costs. It is obvious that the tightening of immigration is likely to have a net negative effect on the global economy.
So this is talking
So saying
about
that immigration should be promoted.
immigration means people coming.
That should be promoted.
It says it is obvious that the tightening of immigration is likely to have a net negative effect. So if you prevent immigration, it's going to have a negative effect. But now here we require middle sentence.
The first option, also investment in advanced technology itself, such as Infosys, could be a measure to deal with the high labor costs in the US, which is not related. Not related. Not surprisingly, there is now increasing speculation of money not related. Sadly, this is the benefits of globalization and diffusion among billions of people, while its costs are concentrated on a smaller but organized group. Such adjustments often end up parenting populace not related.
It's not very complicated.
That's
Okay. So it's talking about globalization. So yeah, adjustment end up validating populace. That's also right. It's partly related, but not talking about the same thing. Okay.
The economic rationale behind the free movement of labor is that it promotes economic actions. Now, free movement of labor related to the passage can be a possible answer.
Yeah.
Other Indian outsourcing firms, so outsourcing means that skilled labor goes out. That's the way. Other Indian outsourcing firms are headquartered in the United States, but Infosys is the so it talks about United States and not about India.
So we are talking about the immigration problem. So E is talking about recruitment in the United States. Are we talking about the recruitment in the United States? Is talking about adapting new policy in the West. It does not diminish New Delhi's responsibility to make a case for open immigration policies for India's skilled workers. So case for now here what are we talking about? Immigration policies of the US, right? So we see while Indian companies adapt to the new political economy in the West. So because of the policies in the West, what is happening, and our government should support or like should make a case for policies of Indian workers. They should support Indian workers and put their like problems forward, right? So this economist has pointed out increase in the size of global economic output despite these costs. So what is the answer there? Yeah. So now if you look at other Indian outsourcing firms have recruited in the United States, is that relevant? No. The second part may be relevant, but it's talking about individual companies adapt, but then we are coming down to the government policies, and then it comes down to the cost. Output despite the costs. So we need something that connects the two sides. So is B connecting the movement of labor is that it promotes economic efficiency. Yes, in spite of the cost, it has some problems. Right? So what answers did you E. E seems to be, but if you analyze further, it is not. Right? But it's specifically talking about again what the firms in the US do. Right? 19. Got this?
Yeah.
No problem. 19. Shyam, you got 19.
Yes, ma'am.
20. Who got it? You did explain. Chalo. Anyone who has got the answer can explain. Here are 5 options. Right. With that.
It is famously said that a language is a dialect with an arm. Dash. There has been a leading movement of Hindi to become India's national language, not just the official language. Moreover, the Shiksha on the internet and
It's okay.
RSS updated and a part of current dispensation's brain trust wants English to be removed as medium of instruction. The implications are not hard to balance. Okay.
So we need the second sentence. It is said that language is a dialect with an army, and then it moves on to the movement of Hindi to become India's national language, and a particular organization wanting to remove English. Yeah. So, which ones did you eliminate and why? Explain Karo.
So, A, with regard to the functioning of high courts, all Indian official languages enjoy equal status and therefore demand for official linguistics. Okay, so इसमें सारे languages पर बात कर रहे हैं, पर passage is only about putting Hindi up and English down.
And this is talking about specifically high courts.
Yeah.
Yeah, not overall. Okay. B.
Moreover, given a preference for mother tongue as a medium of instruction, it would be illogical to expect that state's sole official language from the not related, we are promoting.
Again, we are talking about that state's language. So is the passage talking about a certain state's language in the High Court?
State means the government.
It could be the government, and if we say a particular that state's sole language, then it wouldn't be the government of India. It won't be that state won't be the country. That state would be specific state. Yeah, when we say that or the, it becomes
SS
this.
capital.
Huh?
SS capital.
SS capital, that state's sole official language means a particular state. So when you're talking about, it's talking about a mother tongue, right? So mother tongue, everyone's mother tongue is Hindi? No, no. When you talk about India, each state has a different language. So if you take it in that perspective, then it would be that particular state's official language. Each state has a different language. Okay. See,
And in backlash from non-Hindi states, especially Tamil Nadu, the CBSE announced that it has not taken a final. It's not an hour. Hindi languages are with strengths the constitutional mandate to promote it as India's lingua franca. And the fact that it is more widely spoken than any other language. So, इसमें वो लोग हिंदी को promote कर रहे हैं.
is this related to the previous sentence?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it related to the next sentence?
What is the lingua franca?
Main language. India's lingua franca when you say
It's
it will be the main language of India. Yeah, English has a lot of French and Spanish origins. So is he related in any way? So D is our answer. So if you look at the clues, it's talking about Hindi language being made the official language, and it is famously said that a language is a dialect with an army. And then it goes on, if not an army, that is related, and the rest of it is also related. Maybe, okay, it may turn out that the first part is related, the second part is not related. So you have to break it down and see the whole thing related. Clear, okay? No other questions, you know? Thank you, everyone, for the answers. Yeah, this is like, it's not very easy. Okay, we will continue with, okay, Mahir, you weren't there yesterday. We had begun with paradigm. Yeah. So, anyone explain? Okay. First thing to revise, what are the main things you have to keep in mind to do paradigm questions? What are the main things? What are your strategies to solve paradigm?
So we can understand what it is.
Right.
And find the most genuine statement.
Generally specific. Yeah. So in parajumble, mostly it is like a paracompletion. What is the introductory sentence? What can be the concluding sentence? How are the points linked? So in paracompletion, you would be figuring out a middle sentence depending upon how you can join the dots. Same thing. Now, if you have, what else do you keep in mind when you're doing paragraphs without or with options?
Transition.
Transition. Transition words. What else? Pronouns.
Articles.
Any articles. If a sentence begins with the, so will it be an introductory sentence? No. If a sentence begins with or, then it will be introductory. Yes. What else can be, what other strategy can be applied to paragraphs?
Should start.
Yeah, any sentence beginning with pronoun or has a pronoun in the beginning, the subject of the pronoun should be before that. What else?
About
Yeah. Then link ideas. Yeah. Question, solution, argument. What leads to the argument? What else? Look for mandatory pairs. Yeah. Otherwise, you will be just jumbling it even further. So, try to figure out whatever you can as a person. Two sentences linked to each other. So, if you are linking sentences, how do you link sentences? Logical order, or chronological order, or two ideas linked together. So, when you have figured out a mandatory pair, say C and E can go together. C comes first, E comes after that. And then you will go on to looking for after if you have got your mandatory pair. So mandatory pair can be related to the introductory sentence or the concluding sentence also, or two sentences in that. So once you have done that, yes, it becomes a little easier. The questions aren't going to be easy. Okay? So we have to think. So let's look at this one. And yeah, you may get options, you may not get options. Who gives you options? Huh? We have done this one, remember?
Just these paragraphs in the like
You have to just type the numbers. We'll come to that, how to type and what not to do, what not to do. So if you don't type the answer in properly, then also it gets so it's invalid. They say typing in a certain way is invalid. So we'll come to that answer. So this we have done, you remember?
yes.
How will we do that? Okay, 1 minute. So Indo doesn't give you options. NPAT also, in some questions they give you options, some questions they don't. Rotak usually does. JIPMAT again gives you, Rotak and JIPMAT sometimes are fond of these. Huh? Opening sentence? So Rotak may give you opening sentence and closing sentence, or only opening or only closing. So you get your hints and they will give you options. JIPMAT will also give you options, and JIPMAT may also give you like parts of sentences. Arrange the parts of sentences to make a complete logical sentence. Very easy. The paragraphs are a little complex. Okay, let's look at this one. Shyam, you can see the screen. So you have 4 options, and first and last sentence are given. Yeah. So when you have first and last given, what do you do? S1 and S. Okay, S1 is given. Yeah. PQRS are the options. So S1 is given. If S1 is given, then you can link to that first. Begin with linking to that. So, are you able to figure out? No? So look at the logic behind it. What is the logic behind it? It's talking about there was a time Egypt faced economic crisis, right? So next should be something related to the economic crisis.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now it says cotton is a chief export commodity of Egypt. Is that related to the first one? Foreign trade depends on cultivation of cotton on a large scale. Cultivation of cotton. So cultivation of cotton on a large scale will come only after we are talking about it exports cotton. Right? So anything related to exports cotton should come first. Then it became necessary for Egypt to boost cotton crops. Only by means of increasing foreign trade, Egypt could survive. So, if we say by increasing foreign trade, Egypt could survive, that is the solution to the economic crisis. So, what will come first? S will come first. Yeah. Now, if S has to come first, 4 options are given to you. Only one option has S first. So, save time. But you have to confirm. Right? So after S, Q can come. Foreign trade depend. Now it's talking about increasing foreign trade. Then it talks about foreign trade depends on cultivation of cotton. Right? Now, then because of that, cotton, it became necessary to boost cotton crops. Right? And last is cotton. Now, cotton is. So is in the present tense. After all this, now cotton is in chief export. Make sense? So to confirm, read the sentences in the order that you have chosen and see if it makes sense. If something is missing in between means your total answer. Is it easy? What's the difference? S1 and S6, that is the first and last sentences are given. The order of the first and last are given. You have to figure out the others. So can you figure out the sentences that can come together? Can come together. R and Q. What comes first? R comes first or Q comes first? R comes first. So we can say R and Q can come together. Right? So which ones have R and Q together? In this order, A and B. Right? So probably C and D may not be your answer if you have taken R and Q. Okay. What about the others? What can come before the last sentence? Can Q be your last sentence before the engine transmits mechanical energy to machine? Can Q come before S6? Hmm? So the heat can be used to change water into steam, giving the steam the energy to expand, which drives the steam engine. The engine transmits mechanical energy to the machine. Right? It's talking about how the machine, how the engine works. Right? Chris says, okay, quickly come to your answers. A, B, A, B, C, all three can be answered, right? D, B. Totally confused. Okay, let's discuss. First sentence is the energy in coal is chemical energy. Right? Energy that you get in coal is chemical energy. Now, P begins with these compounds were formed. What compounds?
Chemical compounds.
Yeah.
IPM.
Okay. Now, 1 minute. Now here we are talking about coal. Yeah. Now what should come after this? Anything that is related to coal? Yeah. Energy in coal is chemical energy. When coal is burned, energy trapped by trees millions of years ago is released to become air. Right? So can R come after S1? We have two options where R is coming first. Hello? I want to discuss it first. So can R come after S1? Good. Yeah. So the energy in coal is chemical energy. When coal is burned, energy trapped by the trees millions of years ago is released and become heat. So if we were to take R after S1, then we have either Q or P as the next option. So what does Q say? This heat can be used. Yeah. Now these compounds were formed in trees millions of years ago, and the energy used to build them was the light of the sun. Now, do we have any option where P is coming after S1? No. So P can be your percentage. So this is talking about these compounds were formed. Which compounds? This is the energy that binds the atoms of chemical compounds in coal together. Chemical compounds. These compounds. These compounds are related to the chemical compounds in coal. So S se pehle, P can come after S. And this energy, can S come after S1?
Yes.
Can S come after S1? It's talking about this is the energy that binds atoms.
Yeah. Okay.
So here we are talking about chemical energy. So we can have S1. After S1 we can have S. This is the energy. After S comes Q. After S comes
P.
P. After P
R with Q.
R and Q.
Yes.
So what's the answer then?
P.
right? You have to link the dots. If you don't link the dots, whenever you have this, you have to figure out what is this. This is the energy. Where are we talking about energy? Chemical energy. This heat is produced to come in the various centers. Right? Now, you know how to go about this. It is confusing and it is testing you whether you can solve something.
Yeah.
This was comparatively easy. You could easily join the dots. Yeah? So a logical, see, you are looking for a logical order. Again, and this is related, this heat, this energy. What is the heat? What is the energy? Where is it coming from? That is easy. Okay. See, these require practice. When you practice, easier. But you're able to think. Early bird, it's all confusing. How do we think? Once you start thinking, it does. So when you are looking for parallel numbers, you're looking for what is it talking about? Right? Information flow. One point flows into the other. Purpose. We spoke about purpose yesterday. Tone and style. Whatever we do, tone and style is important. Topic and theme. You need to look at that. Crucial clues or linking words. Mandatory pairs. If we get to the mandatory pairs, we can eliminate or get word answer. Introductory statement and concluding statement. If not given, we have to figure out. Introductory statement will be more general, introducing the topic. Concluding statement will be more of a summary or something which is related to whatever has been said. Continuation also, right? Keywords for introduction and conclusion. We are done. Sequence keywords. This, that, they. So we have to first look for the opening sentence. If we can't figure out, look for mandatory pairs that can come within. We have to weave the sentences together. We go from generic to specific. Keyword indicator and eliminate options. Yeah. Now we can get to the types. So these are the instructions that you will get. Right? Either they will give the instruction for this is for IPM Indo specifically. So it says the sentences are given below when properly sequenced from a followed paragraph. Each sentence is labeled with a number. Decide on the most logical order. Enter the sequence of numbers in the space provided. Right? So they're telling you that you have to write the sequence of numbers. Only numbers are to be entered in the space for the answer, and no letters, characters, or spaces should be entered. So you don't write question number or A, B, C. If the numbering is in ABC, you write ABC. If the numbering is in 1, 2, 3, you write 1. You have to be very careful. Okay, now what you have to be very careful about. Now, for example, a response such as 3, 4, 1, 2 like this is valid. And if you put a dot after your number, or you put spaces in between, it is invalid. Right? So you have to be very careful. No dots, spaces, any other characters. Or yeah. So you have to write Just so usually when we write, we tend to put a dot after that. Yeah, keep this in mind. So now to the questions. You have 5 sentences, you have to put them in words. First thing you have to read. Shyam, can you see the board? You can see the screen. Question number 41.
Yes, ma'am.
Can do this. Can you figure out? So now the first sentence begins with by contrast. So it should be a contrast to something that has been stated before, right? So we have to look for what it is contrast. Yeah. So one has to be related to something. There are no comparable data on different countries, but one report by Dastra, a Mumbai-based NGO, estimated total private giving in India came to about 13 million in 2022. Right? We are talking about 2022 figures. Right? Now here, what other? Now 4 is also giving data. Researchers at the Chinese Academy put total given in China at 21 billion in 2020. Right? So we have 3 sentences with data. Okay, now what can be your introductory sentence? What is introducing the topic? 3 is introducing the topic. A strategic sort of giving, etc. is gradually emerging, right? And it says it differs between countries. Yeah, we have 3 sentences talking about data from countries, and it differs between countries will be your first sentence. So 3 can come first. What comes after 3? So by contrast can come after what? It is talking about 500 billion in America, 21 billion in 2022 in China, and 13 billion in 2022 in India. Right? So if you look at the figures, American figure is huge compared to the other 2. Right? Okay, now between 2 and 4, what can you place first? 4 by 2020, right? So we can come up with 4. So 3, 4. After 4, 2. Then obviously 1 by contrast. So what are you left with? 5. 5 can be a good conclusion. Yes. You got your order? 3, 4, 2, 1, 5. One is after 4.
The 4th point gives numbers for China. And then
Yeah.
second one,
Can
then
be.
there is no comparable.
Okay, now 2 begins with there is no comparable data on different countries. So we are now when we are talking about no comparable data between the countries, means we have spoken about the countries only. Correct. Right? So we would have 4. After 4, we can come up with 1, right? So 3, 4, 1. Or would 2 come first? 3, 2 can come. 2 can come first. So we are introducing comparable data between countries, and then we are talking about the countries, right? So ideally, it shouldn't be 3, 4. It should be 3, 2, right? So we are talking about the Indian data, right? After 2, probably 4 can come in.
Yes, 4 then 1.
Then by contrast, and then finally 5. Right? So we do your combinations. But logically, how does it fit? Yeah. So now if you read it in this order, does it make sense? You have to check whether it makes sense or not. 3, 2, 4, 1, 5. Write your answer 3, 2, 4, 1, 5 and check later. Question number 41, 2024. So if you read it in this order, it does make logical sense, right? If we read it in 3, 4, 2, 1, 5, is it perfectly logical? Okay. If we say 3, 4, 2, 1, 5, then there are no comparable data on different countries. It's right? Okay, so this one done. Okay, next question. This is question number 42 of Indore. You have 4 options over here. Read carefully. We will see. We'll check the answers. Let us do all of them. So you just write your answers. 41 का answer क्या मिलता? 42 का क्या answer? We will do one thing for this. Each one of you write your answers. We'll take our answer at the end and then discuss. So you should take not more than a minute to do it. Or maybe for now you can do it be a little more. Take note of the transitions. Not discussing. No discussing. Just your answers. You written? Done? What your answer? Move on to the next. Now you have 5. Yeah, you can get 5 or 4. They haven't told you that you give only 4. This begins with meanwhile.
Is it closed or closed?
Closed platforms, such as WhatsApp.
Some kind of handle service.
Debate is moving to closed platforms such as WhatsApp and
And
Huh?
Last sentence.
Last sentence.
Diet of
Diet of clips selected by artificial intelligence. What are you served by the social media? They give you, what do they give you? So it's a metaphorical, but okay. So what are you served by social media?
some of consequences are good.
Some of the consequences of this, whatever this. Yeah. Okay. At least what you can do is you've got an answer, you get something. Read it in that order and see if it is makes sense. What can come after what? So at least you could have two pairs that can come after one another. You could have figured out the introduction. What is the broadest sentence? What is the broadest sentence? Second one would be introduction then. Second says the starting feature of new social media. They're talking about new social media is no longer social, and everything else is leading to that. So what can come after two? You have to figure out. What can come after two? Okay, everyone has written an answer or not? Yeah. Okay, we'll discuss. 44. Now, excuse me. 44.
How can I discuss?
I'll discuss.
Please forget.
First do them, then I'll discuss. I want to see whether you can think correctly. These are actual questions. We can't do these so much. Okay. Huh? Huh? What an answer? Correct anything making it. What an answer. Still thinking. At least you know what the introduction sentence could be. See, when you have two sentences, one after the other, and you are confused. Hello? If you are confused about the order, what do you do?
Read it again.
Read it again and see how it is made. Right? You have clues in each of the sentences. Look for the clues. In two, you have both effects.
In this.
In this, what is this? What is this?
What of that?
Okay, wait. We'll do the next one. There are about 5 or 6. Right? There are 5 last thing. Usually there are 5. Okay, this one. Concoction means a mixture of various things.
What is?
Concoction means a mixture
First part.
which is usually used for keeping somebody, like in Ayurveda, you made a concoction.
What is for you guys?
It is talking about that. What are your hints? Look for clues. If you look for clues, it becomes a riddle.
Explain the behavior. It is something
So if you look at the clues, you will get your answer. So, each entire sentence and look for clues. Done? Okay, we'll check. Doesn't matter. Krish, what answers? Shyam, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I am here.
Please keep the video on, otherwise you can't send it.
Yes, ma'am. Give me 5 minutes. There are some problem with my net. I'll on my video in under in 5 minutes. I'm just figuring out.
What are the questions? We are checking the answers now.
Guys are checking the answers. Yes. Oh, answers.
Now you can check your answers.
Box में सारे हैं अभी पता नहीं चलता अरे सही है क्या ये सही है क्यों बदल दिया और बात नहीं लोग करेंगे ये मेरा पोस्ट ये मैं
So first one, 41. Who got it right? Excuse me. 41. Who got it right? Raise your hand.
41 right है ना इसको
41 था
अच्छा अभी तो आप क्लियर हो गया
हम 41 साथ में लगा था
42. Everyone? 43. Forty-five. Oh yeah. Hello, 45. 45. You got it? Got it? Okay, now we can discuss the questions. I'll explain, you people will explain. Forty-two. Everyone got it right? But still you need to know the logic behind. 43. So what is the main idea? Main idea क्या था? How people use social media and how it influences. So your introductory sentence should be the most general one. Introductory sentence was introductory sentence was 2. Everyone got 2 as the introductory sentence. Even those who got it wrong. Introductory sentence.
Yes. Yes.
One sentence is different. Yeah. So it begins with 2. It says the striking feature of new social media is that they are no longer very social. Yeah. So we begin with 2. What comes after that? It is no longer very social. Now, what is 1 talking about? Meanwhile, people are posting less. So there should be something before that, right? Related to why they are posting less, or a contrast to it. Yeah. So 1 should be paired with what? The share of Americans who say they enjoy documenting their life online has fallen. So they are posting less. That's it. Now, if we look at the 43, okay. Now, if we look at 3, some of the consequences of this are welcome. Can this come after the introductory sentence? This seems to be conclusion. Yeah. Some of the consequences of this are welcome. Political campaigners say they have to tone down their message to win over private groups. So is this related to one? No. One cannot come after this. Right? Okay, so what is left? 4. Debate is moving close to platforms such as WhatsApp and Telegram. What is that related to? What can come before or after that? And 5 says, inspired by TikTok apps like Facebook, increasingly serve a diet of clips selected by artificial intelligence. According to the users, according to the users' viewing behavior, not their social connections. So we are talking about social media giving you things that you are watching based on your preferences and not based on your social connections. Right? After this, can we go on to meanwhile people are posting less? So there are two behaviors. One, what the social media is doing, and one, what people are doing. Yes or no? So these two can form a mandatory pair of sorts. Could be, right? So 5 and 1 can come together. Right? Now where does debate go? Debate is moving close to platforms such as WhatsApp and Telegram. What sort of debate? What people are watching and what people are not watching. Right? So this can come after 4. Right? And then we can come to some of the consequences of this. Consequences of what? Of people posting less, debate going on. So can 3 come in between somewhere, or do we put it at the end? Hello? Riva?
Yes.
Where do we put 3?
After.
After?
It's before. It's after because debate is moving close to too close to platforms such as WhatsApp and Telegram.
So this is
consequence there.
This is, we spoke specifically about what people are posting. We spoke specifically about what TikTok and Facebook is doing. And what is the debate about? Yeah, so why people are posting less and why AI is giving you these things. So debate will come after these. So it will come after 4. Sorry, it will come after 1. And last will come. Last will come. Now got it? As a consequence.
I'm 2-1-5. I'm giving the answer one step.
It was 2, 5, 1, 4, 3. 2, 5, 2, 5, 1.
No, which was 1, 1, 5, 4, 3. I don't 1, 5, 1, 4.
I don't 1-5.
5, 1 minute meanwhile. So that is the introduction.
Go back to the question.
So what is the introduction is striking feature of new social media is that they are no longer very social. Now, no longer very social, then we come to 5. Why it is not social? Yeah. So it's specific about the TikTok and Facebook sort of platforms giving you clips made selected by artificial intelligence, and not their social connections. Now, what do you mean by social connections? People posting. One is talking about people posting. 5K by 1. Then we go to 4. Debate about these things. So debate is moving to closed platforms such as WhatsApp. So we first spoke about TikTok and Facebook. Then what about these other platforms like WhatsApp and Telegram, where we are communicating one-to-one, but there also we are not getting content based on what we communicate, but what AI is doing, right? Because people, if you look at these platforms, people usually forward things that they receive from others. Yeah. Okay, and then last comes the consequence of all this. Consequence will come at the end. Okay?
Yes.
We were clear? Okay, right. Didn't get okay, right answer, but did you get your logic correct?
Yes.
Okay, 44.
Got it correct.
Everyone had got it
No,
correct.
I got it. I think wrong.
Okay, 44, those who got it wrong. What was your answer? See, if you don't learn from your mistakes, don't press it again. You should know why you got it. Yours, your answer was 1, 3, 4, 2. Right? Who else got it wrong?
I just
Randomly.
नहीं सही में last
What do you mean?
Yeah, the answer is 3.
4, 1. We will look at that also. और किसका आंसर गलत था? Yours is right. Everyone else is right. So, somebody wants to explain?
Yes.
Yes, please.
So, when you see all the 4 options, let's say the 4th one fits the best for introduction, was the most generic. When space with less gravitational force, camera lower, there is less pressure on your spine and you get a bit longer. Effectively making you as much as tourist scholarly.
Yeah. So it's talking about the spine. What happens with the spine? Then
then second one was both effects. So there has to be 2 effects. So that will most probably be the conclusion. And in this microgravity environment, your blood also tends to move towards the heart and head.
yeah. So 4 was talking about less gravitational force.
So that
this is connected this microgravity environment. Yeah.
And then the heart reflects this, and this is blood moving towards the heart and head.
Yeah.
So 4, 1, 3.
So 3
and both
comes
effects
after 1.
is
And
clear.
then both. No? So instead of 2 and 3, 2 talks about both effects. So what are the 2 effects should come before that? Right? 45 may problem discuss with them. Okay, what did you write as your answer? Okay. So what was your answer? 1,
Yeah,
3,
same.
4.
Yeah, same.
Same.
And what other conclusion? Anybody else got a wrong answer?
Same.
This is the answer.
This is the answer. Yours? You got the correct answer. You also got it. Okay. So this is the only answer everyone got which was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So, and So now let's see what was the introduction. Now, it is talking about kava. What is kava and how it affects? That was the main. Yeah. So the first sentence should introduce kava.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Okay. So which one introduces kava? First one begins with the muddy concoction made by grinding the kava's roots, etc. And then it goes on to holds a deep cultural significance, right? Holds a significance. Now, the muddy concoction, and it goes on to tell you what the concoction is and the significance it holds. It could be an introductory sentence, right? But now if we look at 3, is it more general than 1? So the one which is most general is to introduce the topic, give an introductory sentence. Yeah. So we will go with 3 coming first. So 3 will come first. Then 1 goes on to give us more details about. Then 1. And then 4 and 2 make a mandatory pair. 4 is talking about profound relaxation, and 2 is talking about this blissful sleep. Yeah. So these two go together. So you get 3, 1, 4. 4 2 you got correct. Only 3, 1 is. So when you are confused and you look as if they are introducing, so you look at the one which is giving you details and the one that is not giving you details. So the one that is not giving you details will come first. So what was the time? So now you know how to do this. So I'll share the worksheet. The 2023 questions are here. No. Worksheet unit 2022, 20 and 19 questions will be there. 21 and 9. So the other PYQs will be in the worksheet. 2023 questions will be here. But don't look at the answers before you do it. After you do them, you can check your answers. You all have to comment this. Sure, are you still there? So you got your answer?
Yes. Yes.
You got them correct or some were wrong?
Some were wrong, but most of them were correct.
Okay, so okay, now the worksheets I will give you. Please do not procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. It is down in front of you. Do not procrastinate. So I'll share the worksheets. Yeah, you will do them. Tomorrow we will do reading comprehension. So we know the math marks coming up on Sunday. We have to do some things before that. And yeah, I have written 2 dates over here. Those who came in later.
Oh, what is happening?
I have written 2 dates over here. There's still time. You have 1 day to apply for this. If you want. Huh? Okay. Thank you, Shyam. That's it for today.
Thank you, ma'am.